Hi, Minecraft people. My name is Nick. On the internet, I go by Decory, and I'm the developer for Redstone Sidekick. And today, I want to show you what Redstone Sidekick is and how it can make your Minecraft experience easier. There will be timestamps below if you want to skip to a section, so check that out in the description. So, what is Redstone Sidekick? Well, at its core, Redstone Sidekick takes Minecraft structure files or handmade lists, and it creates crafting information and gathering lists for your Minecraft projects. This is really useful while you're gathering to make sure that you get everything that you need while crafting in case you forget recipes, but it also allows you to share these lists with others and track your progress as you craft and gather towards your big project. So this is the project window. When you boot up Redstone Sidekick, it's going to take you to this menu, and everything you want to do inside the program can be done from right here. So you're going to see here you can change your project's name. You can use this as the default file name for any projects that you save, and this will also be the name that shows up when you share a project with someone else. The next thing you can do is if you want to manually add items, you can click the plus button over here. You'll see a big menu pop up that is not unlike the creative menu inside of Minecraft, and even has the same categories. And so let me just select some items here so that we can see how this goes. Let's get something that takes a little bit more stuff to make. Let's do that. And if you want to remove something like this jungle sapling, you can just hit remove selected and it'll get rid of it. Now, every item that is placeable or used in a recipe for something that's placeable is included inside the program. When Minecraft updates, you'll be able to get an updated Redstone Sidekick with the new additions from the same place you found this tutorial. So now let's talk about the crafting tree and the gathering list. You'll notice that our project has two tabs. These are the main features of Redstone Sidekick Project. So the crafting tree is the default view. That's the one where we added our items and where we can remove them. But it's also where you can see the crafting recipes for everything in your project. So if you hit plus on something that has ingredients, it'll show you what you need to make it. It'll show you either a crafting table or it'll show a furnace, depending on what kind of recipe it is. And it'll show you how many you need in order to make the amount that you've said here. So if I change this to 10, it's going to change this to say you need 10 and 10. It'll also keep track of things based on how many you have. So if I say I already have 3 of these, then it's going to readjust the recipe. And because you have to put 2 and 2 in to get 4, it's recognizing you're still going to need 8, even though you only need 7 diorite. You can also say how many things you have in here. So if I say I already have 2 cobblestone and I say I already have 2 nether quartz, it'll actually update and figure out how many that means that you should have and re-update this and decide, okay, well now you only need 6 to get the rest of this. And you can see that even for more complex things, you can just keep going down this list and see every little detail of what you're going to need. If you want to, you can hit expand all and see the entire crafting tree, or you can hit collapse all and bring it all back to the basics. But that's basically the details for the crafting trees. You can add how many you need, you can keep track of how many you have, and yeah, there you go. The one last thing on here, you can sort by name. You can sort your ingredients by category, which is going to be the creative menu crafting categories, just like these categories. And then you can also sort by how many you need, either from highest to lowest or from lowest to highest. So the other tab on our project is going to be the gathering list. So if you just go click on the tab over here, you'll see a different view of your same project. And over here, what the gathering list does is it's useful for places where you just want to go out and you want to get all your materials ahead of time, right? The crafting tree can help you remind you what everything's made out of, what the real materials you're going to need are if you want to get 100 pistons. But the gathering list is going to be really helpful when you actually want to go get all those resources first and then just go build your project from there. So it's going to take every time a particular ingredient is used in your project or in any of your ingredients in your project, and it's just going to put them all together. So if you see the cobblestone here, we have one line for cobblestone and it says we need 36. And the reason for that is we need a cobblestone here, we need some cobblestone for our dispensers, and we need some cobblestone for our sticky pistons and our stone, and even our diorite. Pretty much everything needs cobblestone. So we can go here and we can keep track as we're gathering of how much we have of everything. Now, when you have the full amount of something, you can either say, I've got all of it, and it'll check it off for you, or you can just click on it and check it off. And every time you go load the crafting tree again, it'll update and see the changes that you made. It'll say, okay, you have enough stuff now for this, so that's done. You can go back and it'll re-simplify your gathering list. So this way you don't see things that you've already taken care of, and you can just keep going back and forth and seeing your project get more and more simple as you do until you're down to just the stuff that really matters that you still have left to gather. So let me set this up really quick. The last thing about the gathering list is that it's got two more sorting categories. It has all the ones that the crafting tree has, but then you can also sort by how much you've gathered, uh, from a high percentage to a low percentage, or from a low percentage to a high percentage, depending on if you want to go get the things that you still need the most of, or you just want to finish off some things that you're pretty close on. So being able to keep track of your recipe is great, but if you have to enter it in all by hand, it's probably not going to save you much time. So this is where Redstone Sidekick's Create Project from Structure File feature comes in. This is probably my second favorite feature of Redstone Sidekick, but it's probably the one that's going to be most useful to the most people. So let's start with this before we get to what I think is the best part. So if you don't know, structure files are a way Mojang has built into Minecraft to save chunks of the world for reuse. They're a big part of how the newer procedural structures work, and through commands, they've actually given players the ability to make and save their own structure files as well. So if you already know how to make a structure file, you might want to skip ahead to the next section where we import one into Redstone Sidekick. But I wanted to show those who maybe haven't done it before how to get started. So the next thing we're going to do is actually hop into a Minecraft world and create a structure file for a project that I built in a creative test world. So here we are in my creative test world. And for this demonstration, I've got a carousel build that I've been working on that has a bunch of build elements to it and also has quite a bit of redstone. If we go under here, you'll see that there's a bunch of redstone stuff. So this should show how you can use this for redstone projects as well as just building projects. So the first thing you're going to need is you're going to need to give yourself a structure block. So if you type into the chat, you say /give and then your character's username, and then just start typing Minecraft structure block, you'll see you can get a structure block. You got to be in creative for this, I believe, or you at least have to have commands enabled. But then what you're going to do is you're going to find a corner of your build to start with. So we got to figure out exactly how far out this build goes. So it's going to be at least this way and this way. Let's say this is probably our corner. But I don't know how deep it goes under. It goes down at least one more. So let's dig out a couple more. We'll place our first corner down here. And for this, you're going to right click on it. You're going to change this until it says corner, and you're going to name it. I'm going to just call this carousel and copy that so I can name other things. Oh, didn't save it. Hit done, and it should change into a corner block and say Minecraft carousel. Cool. So this is our one corner. Now we got to go find the opposite corner. So if you did the bottom corner first, you're going to have to do a top corner on the opposite side, which is going to be basically like attached to here somewhere. And then we got to go one block above wherever the top block is. You need to go one block below on the first thing and one block above on the top one. So yeah, actually, I think this is going to be the perfect spot. Let's get rid of the scaffolding. And we're going to call this the same thing, make it a corner. Hit done. Now just somewhere nearby, put down the structure block one more time. This one you're going to put to save mode. And you're going to type in the same name that you put in on those corners. And then you're going to hit detect. Now this is going to go find those two corner blocks, figure out where they are, and put everything inside of those corner blocks into a structure. Now, like I said, you need to be one block further out than you're actually going. So like on this one, it looks like I shaved this off on accident. I can actually fix that in the structure block, but it's a little tricky to figure out what direction these things are in all the time. So I'm actually going to just middle click on this, and this will get it with all the data inside of it and move it out one. And I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to middle click. Well, actually, I already have this, so I'm just going to do that. And then let's hit detect again. It should update. There we go. That looks better. So now that we have our whole structure in here, then the only other thing we need to do is we need to go back into the structure block, hit save, and it'll save it to somewhere in your Minecraft save folder. So let's go check that out. Here I am in my Minecraft saves folder. Yours is probably, your path to get here is probably going to look something like this. You can find online how to get to yours if you don't know how to get to it already. But this is where all your Minecraft saves are. So I'm going to click on the creative world, the test world that I was working on. There's going to be a folder called generated, and then Minecraft and structures. And you're going to see I have a bunch of structures already in here, but this is the one that we want. This is the one that we created. So I'm going to move it to my desktop just so it's easier to find. And that's all we're going to need to be able to take that project and load it into Redstone Sidekick. So let's go back to Redstone Sidekick and do that next. All right, so now that we have our structure file, let's have Redstone Sidekick auto-generate a crafting tree and a gathering list for us from that file. So if you go to the top menu here, you can see there's a couple options. There's new from structure, which will create a new project from a structure file that you give it. Or there's add structure, which will just add an existing, add a structure to an existing project that you already have going. So since we don't have anything here, we're going to start a new one. By default, it's going to open to your Minecraft saves folder. This could be a different location for you, but this is where it has set up by default. But in the last tutorial, I put it on my desktop. So let's just grab this. And as you'll see, after a couple moments, it's going to load the entirety of that project that we had, the carousel that was set up on that plains. I'm going to just get rid of the grass and the dirt because those were things that we didn't need. This extra grass, some of the scaffolding that I had up around. I know that my project doesn't use water buckets. This is just the water that it found nearby. But there we go. After you do a little bit of trimming, what you have left is a gathering list of just all the things you're going to need for your project. Finally, we can just save this project here. Save it. I'm going to save it again to the desktop. It'll by default call it whatever your project name is. It'll save it as an RSP file. So you can save it there. Let's make a new project, load it in just so we can see it. There you go. Hopefully by this point, you're starting to see how Redstone Sidekick could be really useful if you build your builds in creative mode first, and then you want to bring them into survival mode. That's probably the main use for Redstone Sidekick for most people. However, I do want to show off what is probably my favorite feature of Redstone Sidekick, and the one that's probably the most important if you're a content creator or you share builds online. And that's going to be these project codes up here. So project codes allow you to share a bare bones Redstone Sidekick project in a format that you could copy and paste into a Reddit post, a YouTube description, or add to your website. Without having to upload or download a file, you can share the materials list for a tutorial build with your audience. And as long as they have Redstone Sidekick installed, then all they have to do is copy and paste the code and they're good to go. Furthermore, unlike the files that we just saved to our desktop with the Redstone Sidekick project files, project codes don't remember your project progress. They're just a list of what blocks you're going to need and in what amounts. Meaning you don't have to clean up your list that you used while you were gathering to send it to other people so they can gather, right? Like if I made a bunch of progress on my gathering list for this and I send you the project file, well, you're going to show up with something saying that you already have half of your stuff. But with the project codes, it's just going to give you a clean install of that project, basically. So first we're going to make a project code for this project and then paste it back into Redstone Sidekick and we can see how it works. And then I've got a few other project codes that I've made so you can see a few examples. And then Yeah, finally in the video description is the project code for this very project. So if you download Redstone Sidekick, you can see just how easy it was to get a full gathering list for my project into your hands. Okay, so let's create a project code for our carousel project. It's just as simple as you just hit create project code and it's going to copy it to your clipboard. And then if we go over here, I've got a text document up and you can just paste it in. So there you go. That's your project code. And you can imagine, let me turn on word wrap for a second. You can imagine that this is something that, while it's big, you could put it in a video description or you could put a link to it somewhere. And it's just a bunch of text. But if I hit new, I've got a new project here. You got a window to input your project code. I'm going to put that in here. And we're going to get our carousel back. And even if let's say I go through into the gathering list and I just say we have quite a bit of this stuff already. If I come back, most of that should be gone. We should have a bunch of things that say they have stuff. Let's load in that project code one more time. There you go. You got a fresh copy of that project. I'll have a link to that carousel in the description. But then other things I've got here, I just have a couple other projects that I made. And I mean, you won't be able to see what these are in Minecraft, but this is just a big factory I built. You can see there's a ton of granite and stone and everything, and it was able to keep track of all that just fine. And I made a panda exhibit, put that in there. And you can see you get the melons, you get the leaves, you get all the jungly kind of stuff. This is the whole project, just very simply put into a nice little place to gather from. There you go. There's version 1 of Redstone Sidekick. I've got a lot of stuff planned for the future if people end up using this. Other ideas of how this can help make your Minecraft builds even more convenient. But hopefully already it's a helpful way to get material lists for things that you already have built in creative or things that you've downloaded in a world download, or a helpful thing for when you're making tutorials and sharing them so that you can give the people watching your video, the people watching your tutorial, an easy block list to follow along with. um, I just want to say I built Redstone Sidekick this last year just out of a love for this game and this community. It's been such a creative outlet for me for years. And so I really hope that Redstone Sidekick helps you have more fun in Minecraft. And if it does help you and you end up using it, please let me know on Twitter, on GitHub, or on Reddit. All those links are going to be in the description. Send me new feature ideas, bug fixes, anything else. If this project really is providing value for the Minecraft community, then there's a lot of ideas I have about ways to expand and improve upon it, and I really want to do that. So thank you again for taking the time to check out this tool and this video, and I hope you have a blast mining and crafting with your new sidekick by your side. All right, thank you.